My name, Richard Nelson, founder, owner of Peachtree Builders. I've always really enjoyed the design and build and just creating. That's just part of who I am, and I've done it for a very long time. And then at some point along the way, realizing I'd like to be in the people business because people live in homes. And there always seemed to be this missing part where we've got the building, but there was a lack of the connection with the owner and the people who are going to live in the home. Kind of that shift in my mind and realizing everywhere I worked was always just in the building business, and that was always sort of lacking, to be under the understanding of, no, I'm in the people business, but I build homes for them. I think that was a lot of the inspiration to start with. How are we different from other builders in the industry? I think one of the biggest ways that we are different, which this is by design, is we have created a position within the business. And if you go back to kind of thinking, we're more in the people business than the building business, having a position that is very focused, intently, specifically focused on the client experience. So the position actually is Director of Client Experience. This position really liaisons well between the client and the production, which is a dynamic thing that happens in their life, and there needs to be some bridge from the client's life in the home to that production that's coming in.
Hi, I'm Bronwyn Ferguson. I am the Director of Client Experience with Peachtree Builders. The initial process with all of our clients at Peachtree, usually starts with a phone call. I'll meet and greet them, basically listening to their needs and their desires, and then we'll meet with them at their home. It's a very important fact to walk the space with the clients, listen to their needs, their concerns. Sometimes they could have had bad experiences with other designers. I want them to feel completely at ease and comfortable. Then I will walk them through how Peachtree works. And we talk about the personal shopping that I can offer and set a plan, a goal to achieve a finished product for them. I know a lot of times with people that they have an end game of where they want their home to be, but they're just not sure how to get there. And that's where we come in.
Collaboration between sales and production is often a time where there can be challenges. The sales and design, we work closely with a client on all of that front end work. And so that handoff to production is a critical step. And so that position really helps to carry through from the first step to the second step, and then maintain that vital connection with the client to as previously mentioned, just really the production aspect of the project is a lot of fun, right? But it's also pretty intrusive into the life of the homeowner. We're noisy and dusty. We get there early, we make a mess, right? And so being able to keep that sort of softer side involved in that project. And then also, once we're into production, you really don't want anything slowing you down. It needs to be efficient all the time. Everything, every movement, every decision, every part of that project needs to move as smoothly as possible.
My name is Graham Payton. I'm the project manager for Peachtree Builders. I have been with Peachtree for 12 years now, starting from an apprentice a long time ago. I think one of the most important things to establish early on about working closely with a homeowner is just establishing a strong form of communication. Everybody communicates a little differently. That being said, there's a lot of obviously avenues that we can communicate through. Finding the best one early on, whether that's just a meeting first thing in the morning for homeowners that are out of the house early and stay late, versus some homeowners that are in the house for the whole day. Just figuring out the best way to communicate with them is really priority one. As far as being respectful to the space, learning their routines and habits, their morning routine, what they do in the afternoon, pet care, what they do with their children, it's all critical. One of the best things we do is just to establish what it is they need to maintain through our job. What we do is very invasive and can be very disruptive as well. So trying to figure out what we need to do to keep certain routines in place, and then which things are going to be disrupted and how we can disrupt them as minimally as possible. That's very important. At Peachtree, what we generally do to establish our communication throughout the project is it obviously starts in the office with Richard and Bronwyn through the design phase. But then once we get to the job site, most of the communication gets handed off to me. And what that looks like for the client and for the job is really different to the needs of the job and the specific client we work on. So generally what I try to do is check in daily. More often than not, we are in people's homes, in our workspace before they leave for the workday. And so what I like to do is either warn them or let them know really what is coming for the day. Also, big picture for the week. Often what we do during the day changes your home significantly by the time you get home from work. And that can be, I would imagine, very jarring if you were not informed of what was going to be happening. The work that we do is naturally very messy. There's no denying that, there's no getting around it. The biggest thing that we try and do is contain it. So whether or not we're in the middle of your home, which is often the case, sometimes literally in the center of a living space, separating that space from the living space. Whenever possible, having an extra entrance just alleviates the issue of us trying to leave at the same time or us trying to come into the house at the same time. So if there's a side door that is close to where we were working, I like to say, can we use that? And can you not use that? And we'll set up a pathway to it. We'll set up dust walls to it. Those don't always need to stay there for the whole job because not everything that we do is messy and often it's just foot traffic. However, keeping those areas of travel clean is very important, especially early on, just so that at the end of the day, you have something fairly clean to walk through if you have to. And if it's inside the envelope of the lived-in space, it has to be spotless at the end of the day. And that means, a HEPA back at the end of every day, and there's no room for error on that. You just have to be clean because the process is equally as important as the product.
We build for people, respecting their spaces, respecting their rhythms, understanding early on as we, even in the design process and then back to the transition of sales and design to production, having an understanding of this specific individuals, the clients, the homeowners, their needs, all of the little details of their life, the rhythms of how they live in the home, and understanding those and working with them. Everybody on the team has a really high level of conscientiousness, and their desire to build that product and to create that relationship and that bond and that trust with that client is shared. Everybody on this team knows that our product is not the granite countertops, as nice as they are, the tile backsplash. It's not the sheetrock and the studs and the paint. It's really that experience the client has working with us. We want our clients to feel overjoyed when the project is completed. We want them to feel like it was 100% worth the disruption and they would do it again.
I would say yes, it does have a very lasting impact, and it is awesome to see people recognize that the changes they are made and paying for are going to come to fruition, and they will be able to enjoy their homes in ways that it hasn't fit them before.
For me personally, helping a client achieve their dream home is the ultimate goal. It's the reason I do what I do.
What comes to mind when I think about the business we've built and the years of work that we've done is really just all of those clients in their new spaces. I think about how are they enjoying that space? How are they feeling when they walk through after that experience? And then how are they feeling as they live daily within that new space that fits their life, not the previous owner?